So beautiful people, hope you're well. In this video, we're going to be going over how to produce winning Facebook static image ads that generate millions in 2025 and beyond. For those of you who have no idea who am I, my name is Lachazar. I'm the founder of an ad creative agency that works with 7, 8, and 9-figure e-commerce businesses and currently is producing over 1,000 UGC and God knows how much static image ads every single month. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to remove myself from it. And as you know, UGC is not everything an ad account should contain when you want to scale up or when you want to maintain good results throughout the whole year. What you need is creative diversity. So in order for an ad account to function properly and deliver consistent results, you need different types of content. Static image ads are currently performing extremely well. Starting from the second half of 2024, static images have actually performed a bit better than the UGC content that we're currently producing for the ad creative for the brands that we currently work with. And having different ad creative types inside of an ad account would allow us to reach different audiences at different stages of awareness of the funnel that need to see a different message in order to convert. So that's the main reason why you want creative diversity. And we had this throughout the whole year. One ad account in particular has been generating a consistent between 2.5 and 3x return on ad spend without any fluctuations. The main reason for this to happen was because of the creative diversity and the fact that we were consistently putting in new content inside of the ad account, which allowed us to maintain results even when our best performing ads dropped in performance. Something else started to pick up, so we were able to maintain a very consistent return on ad spend throughout the whole year. So in this training, I'm going to break down for you the most relevant static image ad creative types. And after we go over all of them, the 9 of them that you can see right here, I'm going to go over some best practices that you need to keep in mind whenever you produce your assets. And by the way, this is the exact training that I'm going to be using to train my team. So everything that you see right here is written as if I'm talking to one of my team members, but you shouldn't be confused by it. One thing that I would highly encourage you is to create a similar document for your video editing team so that everybody on your team is actually aligned. This is super important because you need all of the stakeholders, so your media buyer, your creative strategist, your video editor, to kind of have the same knowledge so that you can expect the same output from the whole team. So these are the 9 static image ad types. And the first one, probably the most important one that every single ad account should contain, static image callouts. We're going to go over examples, how to produce those in a minute. I'm just going to list them. So the second one is before and after. Third one, authority figures. This is big, especially if you can afford one. Native/organic ad creatives. Then you have feature callouts, us versus them / comparison ads, PR, social proof, and offer heavy. These are the main ones, and everything else that you see is going to be a variation of any of those or just a combination. So actually most of the time you are going to have multiple different ad types combined into one. So for example, you can have like a big headline call out with a before and after, and then a PR right at the bottom of your ad creative. Plus you can also include like a 20% off offer. So you can always combine these. Don't feel restricted to have just like them separate. And the ad creatives above, the ad creative types above, are actually arranged in order of relevancy to cold audiences. What does that mean? That with the static image callouts, you're more or less going to be attracting only cold audiences, depending on, of course, the headline and what you're calling out. And then with the offer heavy ad creatives, these are going to be most suitable for people who are already aware of your product, of your brand, of your USP, etc., etc. They just need a good offer in order to convert. So this is the order in which I would use our ad creatives whenever we try to convert new audiences. Let's start with the first one. So the following images are called callouts because they call out 3 main things. The target audience, with an example, here's why women in their 40s use this product. You can call out the solution, whiter teeth, in only 30 minutes, and then point out to the product that you are advertising. Or you can also call out the problem. For example, are you tired of people cringing when you smile at them because of your yellow teeth? So this is actually a great headline for people who are the colder audiences because they don't know your product, they don't know what you offer, but they might resonate with the fact that they have yellow teeth and they feel like people are watching them when they smile. So here are two great examples. The first one, ADHD, question mark, get focused with earplugs. Then the second one, your daily dose of quiet. By the way, these are ads from Loop earplugs. If you don't know Loop earplugs, you should get to know them, because this, to me personally, was the best advertiser in 2024 and coming into 2025. So I highly recommend you check them out and study what they do. They have a fantastic team. Like, they're good. So you have two examples. One of them calls out a problem, ADHD, question mark. So this is calling out the audience. If you have an ADHD, you are going to stop scrolling, because not many people, I would assume, are specifically calling out ADHD people. So it makes it relevant. It makes it resonate, and people would stop scrolling. They would potentially get curious into uncovering what the hell is this thing that they see on their screen. And then the second one calls out a solution, your daily dose of quiet. So quiet is the solution. They want like peace. In my personal opinion, one of those two ads, especially the second one, is not that great, because it's a bit vague and says nothing. Your daily dose of quiet, like, what's that? Like, is it noise cancellation? Is it earplugs? Is it like whatever? You don't know what this means. You don't know what the product is. So we're going to talk about best practices later this training, but whenever you create your static image ads, try to be as specific as possible. So call out somebody so that they can resonate immediately. Like within 0.5 seconds, they should know that you're speaking to them. Now, as you can see, the second image from above, it also incorporates PR with the featured in section, which basically takes us back to the point I made earlier. Come on. Here, that you can actually combine multiple different ad types whenever you promote your product. Like, don't feel restricted to only use one thing. This is actually bringing in some social proof, so potentially it might get people to click more because they see that this product has been featured on some popular publishers. Now, here we have two more examples of static ad callouts. The first one, sleep better, feel refreshed. Second, get rid of bloating. So one calls a solution, sleep better. Like that's the end goal. You want to sleep better. The second one calls out a problem. And one thing that I would like to see from you specifically when you create your ads is headline variations. So this is a great example from Space Goods. Like, they test a lot of stuff, and it literally costs you zero to produce multiple different variations. And especially after you do all of your research, which is kind of the foundation. And if you don't know how to do research, just watch some of my other videos. You should know what are the different angles, what are the different personas, what are the different problems that people have before they purchase the particular product that you're advertising. So it should be quite easy for you to come up with different headlines and then send them over to your video editing or graphic design team to produce, because this is going to give you a lot more variables to test. For us in particular, it would give our clients a lot more static images to test. It would make our chances higher of actually producing an ad that is converting. So if you're a creative strategist or if you lead a performance creative team, just like produce different headlines, try to call out different audiences, because once again, different audiences would need a different message in order to convert, and you never actually know what's going to work. So just one thing on the second ad, I wouldn't recommend you start with the name of the product, because at this point people don't really care about it. They don't know what astrodust means. Like, is it something from out of space? You have no idea. So people don't care about it, and I wouldn't be surprised if this ad creative is just not converting as good as Space Goods wants it to convert, because it just means nothing. Like, try astrodust. Like, what's astrodust? Like, I don't give a shit about astrodust. So yeah, try not to call out your product immediately, because this would only be relevant. This ad would only be relevant to people who are already familiar with your business, and you want to attract cold audiences. Now, let's move on. Headline variations cost literally zero. They would give our clients more options to test, higher chances of delivering an ad creative that scales profitably. Different headlines would speak to different audiences, so make sure to make them distinct enough. In our case, we have sleep better, wake up refreshed, and then we have 8 hours of sleep can be your reality. These two are not that different from each other, so they would probably be going after the same audience. And when they go after the same audience, the results are not going to differ that much as well. So the best practice is to produce something that's completely different. Sleep better, wake up refreshed. This is for people who have a want, so they want better sleep. This is one audience. Then no more waking up at 2 a.m. This is an ad for a different audience that has a problem. Waking up at 2 a.m. and not being able to get back to sleep until 3 a.m., which ruins their day, makes them unproductive, etc., etc. So try to make your headlines distinct enough so that you can be calling out different audiences. Now, once again, there are a few e-com brands who absolutely crush it when it comes to call out static design. So I highly recommend you be checking out their ad library at least twice a month so that you can just stay up to date with what they do and how they design their images. Loop, Obvi, Space Goods, even though they have some not so good ad creatives. And then O Positive. Like O Positive is actually a very good brand that you should definitely be following. Now, the second ad type is before and afters. So this ad style will not be applicable to all e-com brands, but this is actually one of the top performing static ad creatives because it actually sells a visible transformation, and when people can see it, they believe it. It's best used for skincare, for hair care, for weight loss, or any product that transforms the physical appearance. You can even use it with like fashion companies. Like before I started using X brand, and after, which one looks better, so that you can compare like the design of the brands and how it looks, really how it makes you feel. You can do it for sunglasses and eyewear. What's looking better, a guy without sunglasses or a guy with sunglasses? And then you can have a headline, which one do you think is going to attract more females? Something like this, when you really go into the deep core human desires, such as sexual companionship in this particular case. And if you're advertising such products that sell a visible transformation, you must produce those static image ad types. A few years ago, it was very difficult to get a before and after approved on Facebook. Lately, for some reason, it has not been that difficult. Most products really take time to bring a visible before and after. So plan such concepts as early as humanly possible and make sure to get the product shipped out to content creators that have agreed to a long-term relationship. This is pretty important because if you don't have the buy-in from the content creator, they'll probably stop using your product within like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because people are lazy. So you won't be able to get a good before and after. Make sure to use content creators that can confirm to working with you on a long-term basis. Sometimes you need the creator to use the product for 2 to 3 months before they can send the footage you and us can work with. So keep this in mind. And here are 2 great before and after examples, and I'm gonna get to one more just a bit later. So 47 Skin, this is a company that has been using quite a lot, I don't know why this is blue, quite a lot of before and afters to sell their product, and their funnel starts with their anti-blemish scar repair serum with a before and after, very visible. And then Scandinavian Biolabs, so this is like a great direct response advertiser on Facebook right now that's currently like absolutely crushing it. They have the headline, they have the before and after, and they have the call to action, which is actually great. They could have improved, they could have added some social proof, as in 100,000 plus 5-star reviews, 100,000 plus happy customers, stuff like this, just to give people that extra social proof. But yeah, this is what it looks like. And then this is something that we're currently using for an existing client of ours, and this is like this ad creative in particular had a 3x higher click-through rate and a 2x lower cost per click than any other static images that we tested inside of the ad account. So please, whenever you have the ability, just use before and afters, and you're going to see your ad account immediately improve. The third ad type, static image ad type, is authority figures. So this is another ad type that won't be applicable to every brand because it's super expensive to get the product into the hands of a popular figure. But in case you have like a popular endorsement, an endorsement from a popular person, then just make sure, first of all, to reach out to this person and ask if it's okay to use their face within your ads. Second of all, if you have like a co-founder or a formulator who's super popular, just make sure you use his or her authority, because you are leveraging this person's audience, and people might only stop because they recognize the person inside of the ad, so it's going to make it that more likely for them to convert. So it would be a crime if you don't make use of it. And here's a great example with Hexclad. The only cookware I use, Gordon Ramsay. So even if people are not familiar with Hexclad, they might still stop scrolling if they see the face of Gordon Ramsay, because this is an authority figure. Obviously, if you're in cooking, you probably know Gordon Ramsay, so you would stop scrolling. You would be kind of curious to see why is this the only cookware that this guy is using, and then potentially you might even click on an ad. I think the ad would be best to lead to an advertorial, like 5 reasons why Gordon Ramsay is using this cookware, and then selling the benefits of using Hexclad, basically. Now we're moving forward to static image type number 4, which is actually native/organic static ads. I just don't have a better term to like name those ads that look like images created in like less than 5 minutes, revolving around the interface of a popular tool or application or a software people use on a daily basis. Some people call those ads ugly ads because they are not super polished, high production content, and you can produce multiple of those on a daily basis without really wasting that much time or putting much effort and thought into them. The main thing here is to make your ad look like something people interact with on a daily basis. So let's have a look at some examples. One thing to keep in mind, this is going to be a variation of the static image callout, because that's the main thing. Like you have a headline and then you have something that you are selling. It's just that I wanted to put them into a separate category, because having something super relevant, super familiar to people might actually stop them from scrolling. And this is the thing that you want. You want your ad to stop people from scrolling and then getting the click. From that point on, it's the website that needs to do the selling. So the first thing is sticky notes. The sticky notes trend started in late 2023. It has been very popular throughout 2024. While we have personally not seen that much success with it, there are a few brands who keep running such ads. Potentially they might be also seeing good results. You have Space Goods, Zen. So people who want to be Zen, they might actually stop scrolling. This is a great example from Obvi that I really like. They don't even show the product. They only show the transformation, which is a great way to sell the product. You also tie the result to a specific time period, 90 days, fat burn, week 3, 6, 9, 12, and then they have a money back guarantee, a risk reversal, which is a great way to sell a product, especially when it comes to body weight transformation. Then you have an ad from this blanket company, this blankets helps you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer. One thing that I would highly recommend you do is don't write any text on the sticky note. Just have the sticky note on top of your product or next to your product or wherever you want to have it, and then use AI or have your video editors or graphic designers add custom text depending on what you give to them, because with this you're not very flexible. You cannot change the copy or the text 2 months, 3 months from now. You have to take another product shot, which is gonna just slow you down, and do something similar to what, for example, I think these guys are doing. I'm not, okay, maybe not, but these guys definitely, this thing looks as if it's been written by some kind of a program. It doesn't look like handwriting. So just add the sticky notes on top of your product without any text, and then change the text depending on what you want to add with time, with video editing and graphic design softwares. This is kind of a trick that I can give you. And whenever you experiment with this ad style, just make sure that the handwriting is good enough, because right here, I mean, it's good, but it's so small that people won't even, like, people need to take some time to look at the text to understand what this says. So keep this in mind. It has to be super clear when people see the ad, because otherwise they will just like scroll away. Then we have iPhone related content. I didn't have a better word, because iPhone owns 30% of the smartphone market worldwide, which basically means like 1.4 billion people are iPhone users. So it would be smart to produce some ads inspired by the iPhone interface. And this is something that we have tested with our team. This ad creative, similar style with an offer, has been the top performing piece of content throughout Q4 2024 with an offer and an accept and decline with a very clear product image shot. So highly recommend you test it out. Super easy to create. Probably you have some Canva templates that you can use. Definitely do it. This thing, I keep opening them with, anyway. This thing, as I said, a variation of the static image callout, secret to fending off those sugar cravings in a healthy way. So the sugar cravings is the problem. And the iPhone notes, pretty familiar to people who use iPhone, so they might resonate. They might not, but they might also resonate. And then another example from Space Goods with notifications. Haven't tested this. I don't know how well it works. It just looks nice. So I would definitely recommend you test it out. We're definitely going to be testing it out with our clients very soon. Then we have Google search. Most people use Google on a daily basis, so showing them something that they're familiar with has a higher likelihood of stopping them mid-scroll. Basically, Space Goods, what's the best gift for great sleepers, best science for curb appeal? I would highly advise you include a problem search in the search bar, because this is actually something that people would search for, and just test it out. The amount of experiments you can do here is endless. You have Twitter posts, you can do Reddit posts, you can do IG story format, you can do Snapchat, I don't know, like it's endless. Messenger ads, Instagram, TikTok, question bubble, which actually works quite well. This is an ad that we've created for a brand that we have worked with. Farmer's Dog for Canadians. We knew that people are actually looking for the alternative of the farmer's dog in Canada, so that's what we gave them. And then of course showing the product in a cute way that people resonated, because we were selling to dog owners. So like, what's a better way to stop scrolling to capture the attention of dog owner? And this one is something that I really liked as well. Your favorite way to relax, and then you sell the blanket in this case. So definitely test it out. It works well. It looks organic. It looks native to IG, to TikTok, not that much, because you need to have a video for TikTok to work. But test it out. Like, it's not going to hurt you. The list goes on and on, but you should already understand what I mean by iPhone related content and just native / organic static ads. Then moving on to the feature callouts. This ad type is another variation of the static image callout, but I wanted to separate it out because the reason why I want to separate it out is some prospects, some people do buy only because of the features of a product. They don't need to see some smart, clever ad copy. They just need to know what the product consists of, meaning ingredients, materials used, etc., etc. So if you're advertising a product that is better than its competitors because of its features, it's smart to just call them out. And we currently work with an alcohol alternative company. Our winning ad is this one. It's the ugliest, most like unprofessional ad creative that you are going to see on the planet, but it calls out all of the ingredients. And then something that we understood later on, we did it unintentionally, calling out vegan people. For some reason, a very big part of our customers are vegan people. So calling them out worked. And this ad creative currently has over 700 sales, whereas those really smart ad creatives that look super professional, super high production, super polished, they don't work as good. And if I show this ad on social media, people will think that we're a bunch of idiots who just don't understand digital marketing, but this ad has over 700 sales, over 3,000 reactions, comments, shares. So the lesson here is show people the features of your product, meaning ingredients, materials, colors, different taste options, everything that you can show to people. They care about this stuff. And then here are some more good feature callout examples with this one that I like the most. It's actually similar to the one that we had, vegan, less sugar, baked, never fried, gluten-free, clean ingredients. So as a health conscious person, I would be interested in buying something that like maybe with no sugar, not necessarily with less sugar, baked, never fried. This is something that people really care about. Gluten-free, clean ingredients, like these are selling points, and people would be buying only because of the features. So make sure to test them out. And then here we have another example, just two gummies, vitamin D, K, folate, A, C, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., etc. And as you can see, feature callouts can not go without a big headline. So vegan donuts that actually taste good. That's why this is a variation of the static image callout. Nonetheless, test it out. And here is another example from Loop earplugs. Imagine waking up with energy and think sleeping pills, but natural. So test out different headlines, different background images, but similar feature callouts. Then we have the us versus them comparison, which is a great way to sell a product to an audience that is already familiar with multiple solutions to the problem that they want to solve and are now in the consideration phase. Do they buy from brand A, brand B, C, product A, B, C, D, etc., etc.? And this is where the us versus them ads come into play, because you want to show the prospects why is your brand the best option on the market. And here's a great ad from the Essence Vote, better than socks. So more often than not, people have no clue what to gift someone for Christmas, and they end up buying something generic as a present: socks, scarves, wallets, etc., etc. So comparing yourself to the popular alternative could actually get you the sale and showcase why the product is better with some PR, as you can see right here, and then some benefits of the reason why you need to buy a perfume instead of socks. Then we have another example from Space Goods. Where they lose me is when they say that coffee is tasteless, because I'm a big coffee drinker. I disagree with them because I love the taste of coffee. So I would just continue scrolling. And super important thing, don't give people a reason to make an objection, because when they disagree with you, you instantly lose them and they would scroll away. Now, keep in mind that the two ads above might as well work for a colder audience, because you attack a popular alternative, which could make people stop scrolling even they've never heard of your brand, because they recognize the popular alternative, in this case coffee, in the other case socks. When you attack coffee, you address coffee drinkers, which is a huge total addressable market, and the same thing with socks. The only thing, if I were advertising for the Essence Vote, the first example right here, I would create a few variations that attack different products, such as wallets, scarves, gift cards, or whatever I can think of that people would gift on Christmas, because that way you address multiple smaller audiences instead of just one with the socks. So this is just one thing to keep in mind when you create the variations for your ad creatives. And then another ad from Hexclad that I'm not really a huge fan of. Day and night, that doesn't really mean that much. So their headline sucks, to be honest. And then another thing that I really don't like is when they use them, like who's them. When you create ads with us versus them, and the us versus them angle, just make sure that you are as specific as you could possibly be, because when your ads are ambiguous, people will convert less. They might even not convert at all. So what Hexclad could have done here is attack the different options on the market. So iron pans, aluminum pans, have them here instead of just them. $10 supermarket pans, stainless steel, etc., etc., etc. Whatever kind of pans there are on the market, because you just address multiple smaller audiences, and it's going to make much more people potentially be interested in your product. Then the next static image ad type is PR, and PR ads leverage the authority of a popular magazine to promote your product. This is adding trust to the product you advertise, because it's signaling to other people that this product is popular. And when something is popular, it must be good. So it must be good, then you must buy it. Most popular things are worth buying, because if a lot more people have tried them, then yeah, product should be good. And what you're also doing here is you are kind of stealing the authority of those popular magazines, Birdie, Fit and Well, because if people are actually reading those magazines and those articles, websites, whatever it is, they would stop scrolling just because they recognize the name of the of the publisher and not necessarily your product. And then you have to have some good copywriting skills in order to actually sell the product with 5 to 10 words so that people can actually click on the website and actually buy your product. I wouldn't say that they always perform super well, but it's worth the shot, especially if the product has been featured on a popular show, Ellen, Oprah, Forbes, etc., because you go after the audience of the publisher. Now, the last two are social proof and offer heavy. So we're going to start with social proof because that's actually something that's working pretty well, especially if you have a good review to call it out. So social proof static image ads are more or less there to convince people who are already familiar of the product, the problem it solves, and the USP, but haven't purchased. So this is more or less for a warm audience, and you're going to use it in your retargeting campaigns. Usually feature a testimonial from a happy customer in written format. Whenever you consider buying something from Amazon, you always check the reviews to see what's the experience of other people, right? Did they fulfill the promise? Did they arrive on time? What was the quality? How was the customer service? Did they replace the product if it was faulty, etc., etc.? So it's super important for you to feature reviews because that's actually something that could convince somebody to buy when they're not really that interested in buying right now. If, of course, you use the correct and the right review. Don't use something generic and boring like, this is a great product, 5 stars, I highly recommend it. It's not going to work. Prioritize longer reviews that really sell the benefits and the experience with your product. And this is a great example that I like from Applause. I'm obsessed with Applause. It's the only way I can avoid drinking wine during the weeks, especially, and actually now prefer it. So target audience is drinking wine during the week. Super important. Make sure you address the current situation of your potential buyers because that's the only way for them to resonate, find the ad relevant, and actually purchase. If somebody wants to stop drinking wine during the week, this is the thing that's going to stop them from scrolling. And it can also work for colder audiences. The thing is that a colder audience would rarely read such a long review. So nonetheless, make sure to have it. It's always good to experiment with social proof ads. Great, not so great ad from Jackson, the jewelry brand, because it does sell people on the compliments and the value of this chain. But the thing is that the review is just too small, so it might be difficult for people to read it out. Nonetheless, create different variations, test everything out, and see what sticks and what works for your audience. Applause are doing a great job. They know their ICPs drinking wine during the week, so they made sure they addressed it in the ad. Same thing with Jackson. The problem is that the font is too small. Nonetheless, this is something that you need to have inside of your ad account. Last one of the 9 static image ad types is the offer heavy. So these ads usually work best for sales events or for an audience that has already been through your whole funnel. Now they just need a good offer, the last push in order to buy. And these ads contain nothing else than the offer. The best approach here is to make the offer as clear and as visible as it can possibly be. Simple messaging works best. We recently had a client who wanted us to create ads with the offer spend $120 and get up to $150 worth of gifts, which is not an offer. It's an article. People have to think of, okay, what do I need to buy? How do I need to make sure that I hit 120? What are the gifts? Why 150? Is it actually like worth it, etc., etc.? This is not an offer. This is not an offer. It's a terrible offer. It's not up to you as the creative strategist or the person from the performance creative team to create the offer. For us specifically, it usually comes directly from the business. We try to consult them on what offers they should be running. Sometimes they just don't listen to us. So if you're working in an agency or in a performance creative team, advise your clients to use offers that are simple for people to understand within 1 second of looking at their screen. And here are some great examples from like this fashion brand. Black Friday, 80% off. That's it. Like super simple. If you're interested in their products, you're gonna click. Same thing with Loop. Get to save 15. Like it's so simple to create something like this, and people are actually gonna understand what you mean by get to and save 15%. But when you say spend 120 and get up to 150, like that's too complicated. Get your AG1 welcome kit. Another way to kind of reinforce the desire of people for your product and show them what exactly are they going to get with their purchase. And increase the perceived value of your product so that people would be much more willing to buy it because they get more than they kind of pay for. Now, I hope that you really enjoyed it. We're 35 minutes in, but let's talk about some best practices that you need to keep in mind whenever you create such content. So, a few rules that you need to follow. First one is big, bold, and easily visible headlines. So, most of your ads will have a headline regardless of the ad type. And the headline needs to be very clear in capital letters, so it's easy to read within 0.5 seconds. In order for it to be easily readable, it needs to use simple language and it needs to be short. Don't use words that only people with PhD would understand, and the best headlines are within 5 to 10 words. Try to keep your text within that range. If your headline is too long, people would need 1 or 2 seconds to read it out, which at this point, they don't care that much to give you 1 or 2 seconds of their time, especially in the fast-paced environment of social media. So you need to be quick. Be specific with your ad copy. So feel good about yourself means nothing. Get rid of bloating is a much better headline because it's specific. The second headline addresses a problem which will make the ad relevant for your target audience, which has bloating. So avoid ambiguity at all costs. Don't use something like this where people don't really understand what it means. It might mean something for people who are already familiar with your product, brand, USP, etc., but it's not gonna work for people who are not familiar with your brand, and this is the people who you are actually going after. Next thing, test different headlines because different headlines attract different audiences. Make sure to produce 2 to 5 extra variations of a headline going after a different angle. And if we have to use the space goods example from above, sleep better, it goes after people who struggle with sleep. So that's the sleep angle. Better focus to get more shit done in the afternoon goes after people who drink coffee and experience an afternoon crash, which is the focus angle. No more 2 p.m. crash, again for people who experience an afternoon crash, but it goes directly after the afternoon crash angle. Tastes like chocolate, energizes like coffee. It's going after people who love the effect of coffee but hate the taste of it, so that's the taste angle. And these are 4 different audiences that you can test just by changing the headline of your ad creative without spending that much time like redesigning the whole static image. Just test different headlines. It's gonna make a big difference for you and for your company. I came up with those headlines in 2 minutes. Obviously, they're not the best, but if you've done proper research, you should know exactly what to include, what are the different angles, what are the different problems that people face, and what are the different USPs you can present within your static images so that you can actually make somebody convert. You never know which angle is gonna work best, so test pretty much everything. Then pay attention to golden nugget reviews. Sometimes a happy customer would be much more convincing in their language than the best copywriter in the world. So always make sure you use the same language that people use to describe the product. This is super, super, super important. Pay attention to long reviews and then try to understand what words, what kind of language do people use in order to sell, to describe your product, the pain points, the problems, etc., etc. Now, that was pretty much it. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video and you found some value. Once again, we are a performance ad creative agency that's currently producing a lot of ads for 7, 8, 9-figure e-commerce businesses. So if you're spending a lot of money on Facebook and you want some creative diversity, then please make sure to reach out to me. That's pretty much it. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and I hope you crush 2025 with your static image ads, and we'll speak soon.